And then one day I went into work and I got told that I didn't have a job anymore because the whole business had gone under. And I called Katie that same afternoon and was like, so I don't have a job anymore. I think this is our sign.
Do it.
It's our sign to...
It was like go time.
All right, welcome back to Creator Generation. This week, joined by Katie and Tigger Mac from Cake for Days, or from
Tigger Mac.
Tigger Mac. Bear with me because it's just me on the podcast. No Fred, no Phoebe. Things are going to get haywire, but welcome, Tigger and Katie.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Why am I confused about introducing you guys?
Because it's confusing.
Maybe you do a better job,
It is
please.
Yeah.
confusing.
I'm Tigger Mac. Like, Tigger is my name, but our business is Cake for Days. That's where we started. That's where we began. But we found that having a name to your business was a little bit more, I don't know, it's like easier for people to relate to and want to get to know you more if you're under a name than a business name,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
And I think as
Not
well,
at all.
you know,
It totally does.
and I think as well the whole, well, I suppose because we took off on TikTok and the name for TikTok was Tigger Mac.
Yeah,
and
so I guess the whole thing was that I went on TikTok myself, not as a business decision. It was just to see what it was all about, and I didn't really discuss it with Katie or anything.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm just going to chuck
just
some...
went power mad. And
Yeah.
joking, totally joking.
This is like very early on.
Let's dive into that. What's
Yeah.
so maybe the backstory, like how do you guys know each other? What do you do together as a
Yeah.
starting point, and then we
Yeah.
can unpack that.
Okay. Well, we met when we were 8 years old.
Yes,
We went
primary
to the
school.
same primary school together.
It was like meant to be because my parents moved to...
the
same
I found
town,
out
and
crying
the-
on a bench and was like, oh, this poor kid. So
I didn't have any friends for a while, and
No.
and I cried every lunchtime. But then we became best mates, and we
went
never
to-
lost touch.
went
We
to high school together, and then Tig went on to be a cake decorator at a little cake shop.
Yeah, I was like 23, maybe 24. I don't know. I got a job at a cake shop, worked there for like 6 years. It was sort of like a minimum wage job that there wasn't any room for growth there. It was a very small business. And around the 5-year mark, I was starting to do pretty cool cakes. And
Yeah.
Katie...
Yeah, well, I was obviously following her stuff online, and she created the Millennium Falcon from
Awesome.
Star Wars.
It had
I nearly
lights
said
in it.
Star Trek. I was nearly getting in
Oh,
big
God.
trouble.
It had
Yeah.
like lights in it and everything. And that's when Katie came
Yeah,
to me.
I saw it, and I was like, why are you on this minimum wage shitty job? Like, it was just, and she was practically running the place by then. And yeah, so I was like, let's go out on our own. Like, I've got a spare room in my house. Let's convert it into like a little kitchen.
We didn't though for a while.
Oh, no, we
she
totally
came to
didn't.
me. We
People
sat
say
down.
stuff all the
We
time,
sat down
but
together and
yeah.
we're like, let's go into business, but we don't know how we're going to do it, or like we don't have any
Yeah.
money, we don't have any savings.
Yeah.
So
Little
we
issue with
kind of
money.
shelved it. We shelved it, and I was really scared to leave my job because even though it was a minimum wage paying, it was still a paycheck every week, guaranteed. So
Yeah.
and then one day I went into work and I got told that I didn't have a job anymore because the whole business had gone under.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like warning. It wasn't like next week or in 2 weeks, or it was
Yeah.
just today we are shutting the doors. I
It was really exciting.
walked in and 10 minutes later walked out without a job.
Yeah.
And I called Katie that same afternoon and was like,
Yeah.
so I don't have a job anymore. I think this is our sign.
Do it.
It's our sign to...
It was like go time. It was
Yeah.
awesome though, because I was like, get in there and get everything you can before the liquidators come. So we were
I don't
growing
know
like
whether we should be saying this, should we? Isn't that illegal?
we also
I'm
discussed.
down for the story though. This is
discussed
fantastic.
it with the owner, of course. And yeah, so
He's not allowed to drink.
He's not doing anything.
There was some equipment there that I had gathered over time
Yes.
that was in the shop still, and I went there, grabbed some stuff.
Clearly labelled Tigger Mac.
Yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yep.
She contributed it all.
Yeah. And then we literally just started planning. We got together and we're just like, let's plan like how we're going to do this. And that's when Katie said, well, we've got the spare room. That's just a junk room. So we gutted it.
Yeah.
We have like, tradie
Both
husbands.
of our husbands are tradies, which is handy. And then,
And we did a GoFundMe. I was like, I've lost my job. I don't have any money and we want to start a business. Like, who wants to put in? And so we raised some money from family and friends through that. We got a family friend. She gave us a loan, a small loan.
and
And so we just chucked it all into making the our little what is it, 3.5 metre by 3.5 metre square room. That's what we use to this
size
day.
of the room we're in now.
Tiny
a
room.
little bit bigger.
And what was the plan?
So the plan was literally just to decorate cakes and sell cakes from that space, to order like boutique-y, bespoke, fancy.
So if you want a Millennium
expensive
Falcon,
cakes.
Yeah.
That's what we wanted to do.
A little bit out of the box.
When
and
the
wedding cakes.
when the shop closed, a lot of the local business found out. We went on Facebook and just like social media, we wouldn't exist without it. Like we wouldn't, obviously, because we're social
well, that's
media.
why you're on this show.
Yes.
So
I mean,
I'm not
like,
here to talk to any old cake bakers.
oh yeah, like from the very start, that's the only advertisement we did was Facebook and Instagram. Facebook mostly at the start because it's a bit more of a community based. A lot of the local customers found out that I was the decorator at the old cake shop. Was now doing it locally, and they just all sort of migrated to us because there was a bit of a need for it in the area because that cake shop had closed and
took off from there.
We had orders that first week. It probably took us 6 weeks to get our kitchen made.
Yeah, something like that.
We made a couple of cakes from Katie's own kitchen for people that were desperately needing a cake because it got cancelled at the other shop, and like we just sort of we hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And from that
looked back.
No, from that
And how long ago was this? I don't think we got a time.
2017.
2017.
Yeah.
So where are we now?
5 years ago.
2020.
Yeah.
5 years. Let's go with that.
Yeah. and for about from 2017 until COVID, so early 2020, we were doing like mammoth amounts of cakes. Like we were
about 12 a week.
15
12,
sometimes.
15, yeah.
And it was like we were just non-stop, barely like
And we were
left the
posting
kitchen.
we were posting online, but we certainly didn't have
we were posting photos.
a presence.
Yep.
No. We were 100% like focused on making cakes for customers to collect from our shop.
Yeah.
And that's where we spent all of our time. Like we didn't have time to even think about social media. So really it wasn't until COVID took away all of our orders that I started to sort of go, maybe I should like jump on TikTok and
Yeah, let's pause on that because it's probably a bigger moment than just like, like what was that like? You know, you guys are
it was really
doing
scary.
special event cakes probably, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing
And-
some large weddings, like 200 people cakes.
And here in Australia we had a hard stop.
Yep.
Everything
Everything
shut.
Everything shut.
I
pretty
still
much.
totally remember that because I remember when people were starting to go nuts and buy loads of toilet paper. And I remember sitting down with Tig and being like, do you think this is something to worry about? And we were both like, nah.
like maybe like for a bit.
It'll
Like
be
maybe
like a couple of weeks.
yeah,
probably.
like we'll be fine. Like obviously we are fine. We're
Turned
probably
into
better off now, but like
turned into 2 years.
but we didn't really know what to do. We were like, this is our business is events and events are no longer. So it was like we were kind of smacked in the face with it, as a lot of other businesses were. And
So did the phone stop ringing, orders cancelled? What was that like?
the phone started ringing for cancellations. It was,
Right.
or like we got
just
emails.
panic, just mass
Yeah.
panic of like, I'm getting married next month. What do I do? And we're
Yeah,
like,
we had weddings
don't know.
postponed 5 times. Like they would, because it was so unpredictable, they like reschedule. And the good thing, I mean, we were really lucky. Pretty much, I reckon 98% of our customers kept their deposit with us, just in the hopes of like,
and that was the best thing
being
about
able to
having
get
a
another cake.
home-based business. Like a lot of small businesses went under, you know, especially in the events
yeah,
industry.
rent. We didn't have rent.
But we didn't have
we didn't
overheads, we
yeah.
didn't have rent, we didn't have, like, so we were so lucky.
Like Katie's got a mortgage,
we could
so
just shut our doors.
you know we were helping
Yeah.
with that. So not bringing in any money was really scary.
Yeah.
And luckily our government, you know, there was the job seeker. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, something like that.
Job keeper.
JobKeeper?
JobKeeper. JobKeeper. That was like kept me afloat. I was eligible for that, but
Yeah, it was stressful.
really stressful. And so I think when it was taken out of our hands, I think there was like mandatory lockdowns where we had to like we weren't allowed to leave the house. It was basically you weren't allowed to leave the house unless you were going to the shops.
Yeah,
or-
I mean, that's probably a good context for a lot of people listening around the world. Here where we are in Victoria, in Melbourne, we, you know, people still blows their mind. It blows my mind. We were living under a curfew. We weren't allowed out of the house between
It was like 8
9
p.m. or something.
it was an 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. We weren't allowed out of the house, and we were
unless for certain reasons, like
unless you had you're a doctor and you had an exemption.
Yeah.
And then we're allowed out
radius.
for 1 hour a day of outside exercise, pretty much by yourself.
Yeah.
Sounds mental, doesn't
It does.
So yeah,
Nice
so obviously low on people's priorities was then having an event because you couldn't, or having a special cake because there was no event.
No. So the one thing we were allowed, so if you were a food-based industry, a food-based business, you were allowed to operate under takeaway only.
Mm-hmm.
So we looked at each other and we were like, are you comfortable with me still coming into work because it's your home? But legally, we were allowed to. Like, we looked into it. There was no nothing wrong with me going into my place of business, which happened to be in Katie's home. And we just started making content in our little space.
Yeah.
And, like, I guess we were starting to get into sort of tutorials and things like that. But the one thing that really pushed this was that I started on TikTok and just started doing my voiceovers, and because we actually did start on TikTok earlier because we had a little back catalogue of some videos. We're starting to get into it a little bit. And we put them up on TikTok, we put them up on Instagram, and they just flopped. Like, they didn't go anywhere, maybe like 400 views, nothing. And then, I started to repurpose some of those videos with my voiceovers on them. And then I started doing my Okie-dokie intro.
Well, we'll get into that. Don't you worry about that. Yeah, there's a whole segment coming up. Okie-dokie.
So the same video that was just cake decorating with music overlay, the exact same video with a voiceover, like the voiceover just obliterated all the others.
So you guys were making TikToks of like epic looking cakes with a bit of music, and they didn't take off. But then you started putting your personality in a bit of I think the thing, it set it apart. Like, there are so many cake videos. Like, it's
definitely
thousands of cake videos out there. So I think it made it obvious, like, who was making the cake. It was like,
kind of, put your signature stamp on it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and so many people were like interested in the way that I spoke, and being on TikTok, you're reaching overseas and all of that sort of stuff. So a lot of comments on my accent.
Your unique bogan twang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so like when did it start becoming more than just
for fun?
Just a thing that you were doing for fun? Like, what was that flip?
Well, I think the big shift was it sounds sort of in a way bad to say because obviously COVID was so devastating for so many people, but business-wise for us, it was such a game changer. Like because we were working.
I hate COVID so much, but there is that.
Our business wouldn't be, and the content creation wouldn't have happened without it. Like, we were just working so hard that we didn't even have the time to put into the videos and the creation of side of it.
And the thing is that we were working our butts off.
Yeah.
Making 15 cakes a week, but we were not earning good money. It just wasn't bringing in the cash. We were breaking even. We were earning a little bit, but even though we were working so hard every day, 7 days a week, doing 15 cakes, the output that we're like the ingredients, just everything, what we're bringing in wasn't going anywhere. We were like, how long can we keep up with this? How long can we push this hard and like not earn good money?
Yeah,
because it's hard to do that. It's hard to
And
really.
I think once the views started getting in the thousands, and we had like our first sort of few viral videos on TikTok, that's when we were like, is
oh my
this
God,
like a thing?
I actually had a different username. I had a username called Pig Sticks.
What is Pig Sticks?
Oh, it sounds horrible. I gave her that nickname when we were in like primary school because she had these really like skinny, lanky legs at the time. But it's
arms.
just now I think about it, it's such a horrible nickname. But she had like a really robust appetite.
You guys must be very good friends.
So it was like she ate like a pig but had legs like a stick. So it was like Pig Sticks. It's so terrible now I think about it.
It really is.
But it's stuck around.
It was a kid. It was a kid.
It was a kid.
It was kid nickname.
It was terrible, and for some reason that stuck. So that's why that. But we changed that very.
And it's hard because TikTok you got to have like a unique username, and I didn't want like something 4, 5, 6, 7.
God, that didn't stick though.
I know.
Jesus,
so I changed when I started going viral on some videos. I was like, I better change this name because I don't want to be known.
It's Pig Sticks. Yeah.
And there were a few comments saying, "What happened to Pig Sticks? Like, where's your name change gone?" I'm like, well, I don't want to be known as that. So I I had recently gotten married, so I was my real name is Tegan, but I get called Tigger by anyone that knows me well. So that's actually been a little bit of a trip too, because strangers or people who I meet through business or work or anything like that, it's always been Tegan. But all my mates and all my friends call me Tigger. So if you called me Tigger, like back before I started using it, it was like, you know me. You know me well. Now it's like everyone calls me Tigger, and that was a little strange to get used to, because I had to like almost like adopt that name as my name that I use everywhere, which is weird.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
And then, so what, like Katie, you mentioned you had a few things go viral. What do you guys classify as, what was viral then? Like,
I got getting like 1 million views on TikTok probably. Some of them were getting like 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, and we're like, oh, this is starting since I started doing voiceovers and started putting, like, I didn't show my face for a long time. Like, I still don't show my face a lot. Yeah. Because it's just like the way that our kitchen's set up, it's not really made for that sort of.
It's like entering an entire different world, like going into content creation. Like, we just didn't realise, like, how much is involved. Like, I think that's one thing if you're not in it. I know for me anyway, there was just so many misconceptions, like with the whole content creation.
Once you get followers, you earn money.
Yeah, I was like, oh, these people have 100,000 followers. God, they're like, millionaires. I'm like, how hard is it? You like pose with a product, and it's just once you're actually in it, you're like, oh my God, it's so not like that at all.
You've got to keep up a steady stream.
Followers equal opportunities, but they don't equal income. Like, you're still hustling. You're still trying to, okay, what can we do now with this following to turn it into something that's sustainable long term? And the little things you don't even think about behind, like we now, we study our videos. So if something goes viral, like we're starting to
analyse it. You try and figure out like why. And sometimes it's not even anything to do with the cake. Sometimes it's like you elicited a emotion from people. Like there's a debate going on in the comments that hasn't got anything to do with the cake that you've made, but the topic of conversation from the cake has caused a discussion that has then made.
Like our last viral video, Tig was stacking the cake and just talking about just how many inches each cake was. Like, this is the 9-inch, this is 7, and then all of a sudden we're getting flooded in the comments by men
about size,
about inches, and
and then so that video hit a male audience that normally wouldn't watch a cake decorating video, but for some reason felt they need to comment on my 9-inch wedding cake.
So now you're looking for the 13-inch cake to come through.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's fascinating. There's a few things to unpick there. Like, firstly, you're talking about being quite analytical about your content, but where did you guys weren't really embedded in like this online content world, right? Like, you weren't.
No, that's that's a recent
where did you learn all this stuff?
So
I think it honestly is just like learning as you go, and success definitely brings more success. Like, it takes so long to hit, say, your first 1,000, but then from then the leap from 1,000 to 5,000 and so on and so on. And the more people, obviously,
especially Instagram,
come into your life, like we did a book for Bryony Benjamin, launching her book. And from that kind of went viral on TikTok. And then she was like, you guys should meet these guys from Changer. And then we got introduced to you guys. Like, it was just the more people you get to know in that world. And then we started seeking out.
Yeah, it's sort of like who you know. And it's not like we were like, it's really hard to explain, but it's almost like, it was like a chance happening that like someone like Bryony emailed us and we ended up doing her cake for her, and then the opportunities that sort of like was a knock-on effect from just that one little thing is kind of cool.
I think you don't even realise like how much of the psychology goes behind it. Like, we started going to these, like sometimes like info things from content creators and stuff, and I thought like sometimes I would take in the piss, like, because some guy would be like, I think this went nuts because I was wearing this certain T-shirt, and I'm like, yeah, I doubt it. Like, what are you talking about? The actual psychology between the smallest things that can catch someone's eye and stop them scrolling it blows my mind, like how much is actually involved in now. It's, because obviously it's the future and where everything's going, and it's such a competitive market to break through. But yeah, it's like the amount of elements that come into it is
I wouldn't even say that we didn't like take courses on how to be viral or anything like that. It was literally like we would post a video, it would go really well, and we'd be like, why why did it go well? And then we'd like look at the comments, we would look back at the video, and then we would try something similar. And if it doesn't go well, we'd be like, what did we do differently? And then it's sort of like a natural, I feel like it's a natural step to sort of critique your videos.
It
especially
sounds natural, but it's a phenomenal mindset that it can be missing a lot of the time with newer creators because it's hard to critique yourself.
Yeah.
And it's also like you're doing something you're passionate about and that you want to do. So then it
helps that there's two of us too, I think. We can have discussions and we talk about things and we bounce ideas off each other and we, I think it's good to have someone else be like, I don't know, see things that you didn't see.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you do take it more seriously with starting to, even now when I'm watching, like, you know, when I'm sitting on TikTok or Instagram, I will mentally note, like, why did you stop? Why did you watch that whole thing? And I'll be making notes of that because it's like...
You're working even when you're not working.
I know, but it is. It's like what makes you want to do it? And that's the biggest thing. It's like, why do people care? Like, you are, you know, have so many options of what you can do. Why do you care?
So many people
this?
ask us, like, how do you, like, get more followers? Like, how do you go viral? And it's sort of like, you've got to... There's a couple of things that we tick off. It's like, you've got to elicit an emotion in someone. So, like, bring out something, make them angry, make them happy, make them like laugh, some sort of emotion, or like, you know, get outraged by what you're saying, outraged enough for them to comment and put you in front of someone else. Like, and we also like, you know, giving someone a reason to push that follow button. So yeah, you could go viral with a video, but like, what would make them follow you? It could just be that you followed a trend and the video went viral, but you haven't got anything else of substance.
You get your 15 minutes, but you're not going to like build a sustainable.
So we don't follow trends at all. Like, I think I've maybe got like 1% of my videos are trend based. Everything else is the niche stuff.
What's the reason that people will follow you? What's the reason you put out?
Well, we made a decision pretty early on that we would be that channel.
Escapism.
It's an escapism channel. Yeah. So we don't like that. You know, we recently did a Pride video, you know, showcasing some rainbow donuts, things like that. So like we will still touch on things that
we're passionate
about, but not in a political or serious debate way.
Yeah, because I think starting in COVID really helped with that because like the world was really dark and scary. Yeah, and I mean you need an escape and we have cake.
Yeah. So we've had opportunities to touch base on some more serious topics. People have asked us to, and we haven't because, I mean, people might think it's, I don't know, a little bit like we just wanted to be, like fence sitters, but we don't want to be that place where people go to like listen to serious topics and we want to be like that fluff, that happy place, because we just saw that there were so many people already doing those serious political discussions that we wanted to fill the gap of like, oh, we just want to get away from that for a minute. We just want to, and like people have said that my voice soothes their anxiety, which
that's so funny. Sorry.
The amount of times that people have said that my voice is like, oh God, like
Okie-dokie.
so loud, so bogan, so like, but people say that I like, they go to our page and get lost in the cake decorating and my voice, and I think that we really grabbed hold of that and just wanted to be that happy space for people. Yeah. And I think having a personality adding personality to your videos can really help. But I do think you've got to be somewhat interesting as a person. Like if you were just to, I don't know, start putting yourself in front of your videos and you just...
Yeah, you've got to have a reason for people to follow you.
Yeah, you've got to, I guess... Yeah,
yourself,
give them something.
Unless you're boring.
And then obviously the Okie-dokie. People have said that they followed me because of that. So,
all right, well, let's dive into Okie-dokie, but let's hit pause for a sec.
We have the Creator Generation Discord community. Join your fellow creators from all over the world. We are here to help you grow, thrive, succeed, help each other, be accountable, and get it done. So hit the link. Join us in the Discord. I look forward to seeing you there.
Okie-dokie. Well, yeah, let's, personality. Let's talk Okie-dokie. It's on the t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. Available soon.
Both rocking the Okie-dokie tee.
Yeah.
And it's like a really key ritual. Actually, I'll shut up. You tell me about it. What's Okie-dokie?
Well, Katie will attest to this, that Okie-dokie is something that I have said before, like saying it on
Certainly
TikTok.
a natural thing. It was not a planned thing. It was just something that she naturally started.
I made the conscious decision to start saying it at the start of every video. That was a decision.
Once it happened.
But
it sort of-
it did happen naturally. So I started doing it because I find sometimes it's really hard to, especially considering I record all of my videos when I'm in the kitchen and then they get edited later that night or something. Before I go to bed, I'll do some editing and then like the next day I'll do a voiceover. So it's like sometimes it can be a really awkward. Like I think I first started saying it because I wanted a way to kind of, I don't know,
just
prep myself into talking.
It's definitely become like, I suppose it's one of these things, like especially with TikTok, because people have, like 2-second attention spans and it's just scroll, 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 scroll. And we wanted a distinct way that people will hopefully stop and be like, oh, it's straight away into it no matter what we're saying.
Because my face isn't the first thing you see.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a cake or it's like something on a table. And if, you didn't really know my stuff that well, or you might not recognise that that's like a Tigger Mac video. So the Okie-dokie is like, oh, it's...
So you start every video with?
Every single video except for if it's like not really decorator based. So if it's just like something, I don't know. Sometimes I haven't put the Okie-dokie in front of something that's, a little bit off topic or a little bit not really what I normally do. Or
But
pretty much,
every single video.
If you did a scroll down my videos, you're hearing a lot of Okie-dokies.
And what is that like? So like Katie mentioned, like that's the thing that hopefully, or it clearly does help people stop.
People have said that they followed because of the Okie-dokie and they enjoyed hearing it and it was like, I don't know.
And you guys have really then lent into it as like part of the brand then of...
Yeah, definitely.
So
it was natural. It just happened sort of naturally and then I started doing it more and now I do it in front of every decorating video and now it's just like...
Yeah.
And is that something that like the audiences... They've rallied behind that. Like, what sort of...
The audience definitely
what do
led
you
it, I
see-
reckon.
What sort of behaviour, like, are people shouting Okie-dokie back at you? Like, are you walking down the street and people are yelling out the car? Like, what's...
like emails, people email and say like Okie-dokie, hi. Like they use Okie-dokie in their emails. They use people who would call for a cake order or something would drop an Okie-dokie in there. People would stitch TikToks and just to imitate my Okie-dokie.
Awesome.
Yeah, we get a lot of overseas people like
Okie-dokie.
Okie-dokie and just like imitating it all and,
And we call like sometimes there have been times when with all viral videos you get trolls, and there were times when I've called the Okie-dokie army would like step up and like defend me from like these trolls saying bad things.
Yeah.
So that's another thing is when you go viral.
Okie-dokie army. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And then so there's a bit of a milestone come up. We alluded to that. So as of recording, probably 830 or 40,000 followers.
Yeah, I think
on
hit
TikTok.
830 last night.
Yeah, something like that.
So you guys are doing pretty well in the follower stake, and then hitting 1 million followers. What's going to happen on that?
Well, I'm going to get a tattoo. I'm going to get an Okie-dokie tattoo.
And Katie?
No, I'll hold her hand though.
Katie will film it.
I haven't got any tattoos, so...
So maybe this could be the first?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll wait for 2 million.
2 million?
And then I'll jump on board.
And so, like, what sparked that? Is that, like, what's the...
what do you call it? A
One
follower.
of the followers.
An Okie-dokie army
suggested it.
cadet?
Yes,
Yeah.
Or general?
they commented, just said you should get an Okie-dokie tattoo, and I saw it, and I was like, I looked at, I think we were at like 650K or something, and I was like, all right, well, if I ever hit 1 million, I'll get
commit to it.
I'll get a tattoo.
Yeah.
And
we'll
now
make a
we're at
video
830, and like there'll be like sort of like sometimes you don't get, it sort of slows down. You're not getting as many followers, but yeah, recently we've gotten a few, so it's looking like it'll happen. I should start really thinking about what I'm actually getting, so then it can happen really quick.
I think by the time this, we're a few weeks ahead, I reckon by the time this
Maybe.
drops,
hope
we might
so.
be sharing some a photo of some fresh ink.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool.
It would be. It would be.
And did you think that 1 million was going to come, or was it you were kind of like...
I thought that it would, but I wasn't I thought that it would eventually. Like with the like you can just look at the followers and it's always going up.
Yeah.
So like if you look at the trend, it's going to get there.
It's just a matter of how long it'll take.
Yeah, I just thought maybe it'd be a couple of years away.
So the Okie-dokie neck tattoo is coming.
Yeah, someone said like the no regrets.
No
regrets. Yeah, but in Okie-dokie.
There's a great Instagram account I follow, Sucky Tattoos. There'll be inspiration of what not to do on that.
Yes. No, it's got to be cool.
No regrets.
I think I'll probably design it myself just so that, I don't know, I might include that process in the content. Like I'll start putting some ideas up and maybe let the followers decide on a few different options or something. I don't know.
And then we can get the Okie-dokie army to peer pressure Katie into getting the other side of the neck done so you guys can be mirrors. It'd be super fun.
It would be.
So like where does I think the other part we were sort of talking earlier, and I want to circle back, Katie, when you're seeing this thing taking off, you mentioned like followers bring opportunities.
Yes.
And like I think it doesn't just automatically bring a bag of cash to your door.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I have to admit I was a bit disappointed. I was like, where is our cash? No, I just think, I think that you don't realise that it definitely brings, and it's amazing. Like we're definitely grateful for the fact that we now have all these opportunities, and obviously brands might, are more likely to want to get on board and work with you and things like that. But it is still continually hustling and coming up with, your own content. And I think it really helps if you actually enjoy and love, sounds so like cliche, love what you do. But there are, I think
we have a fun job.
I think the next generation, like I know I've got kids and, like half of them want to be like, I just want to be like a YouTuber and I want to be an influencer. And I'm like, but like with what? Like, obviously some people, their entire life is their brand. And, that's great, but I'm so grateful it is not ours. Like, it's our full-time job and we're working so hard.
Like, we share things about our lives, but like...
But we have full lives
we're pretty,
of it.
We're pretty, like...
And it started, obviously...
Cake-centric.
Yeah, and we didn't go into this wanting, just to be, like, famous and wanting to be, like, creators. It's just kind of happened because we're doing what we love. And I think that comes through with, like, the content that we create, which is, super handy. And, the opportunities come, but it's literally thinking... what can we springboard off this? What can we go next? What's the next step? How can we kind of...
Our minds are always churning. We're always... You're working like pretty much 7 days, but you're doing really fun, cool stuff. And you can kind of... It's really cool to be able to
and I think it's
choose
just
when
like,
and where we work.
Yeah, and obviously trying like, that's where the whole shopping with Tiggers kind of came from as well. Like we're literally like, we're making these realistic looking cakes. Like why don't we put them... like in a supermarket and then
tell us about that for those who haven't seen it, because looking at my notes here, that appears to me to be something that's really popping off for you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's
what are they?
It's another thing. Basically, I pick a product that you would find at Safeway and I make it into a cake, and then we sneak in there and put it on the shelf.
Woolies or Coles
or
wherever.
We put it on the shelf and then we recently we've been doing a video of like where's the cake on the shelf, and then we do a reveal of some sort. And the most recent one, we took it to the cash register and scanned it, and
so it's sort of like
did that scan up? Did it work?
It does, because it's a scan of a proper like
it looks
product.
Legit. Like obviously anyone listening, we can't show it, but if you think of your in Australia, Milo, which like a chocolate drink. Like powder, hot chocolate. Anyone?
The sauce bottle was probably the biggest one.
Tomatoes, ketchup bottle or a tomato sauce bottle, and these things look legit real. Was that a 9-inch sauce bottle?
It's just something silly. It's so just like, I think once again going back to that whole, we want to be an escape. We want to be like, we want people to go to our page and sort of see something that's a little bit wacky, a little bit like cool and different and funny.
And it was definitely like shock tactic. It was definitely like, and then
and that whole like, what is going on? Like we really wanted to jump onto that. The whole, we didn't put any explanation on what was going on. We literally just like showed me biting into a shape box. I think that was the first one, and there was no.
And we kind of like
we didn't tell anyone what was going on
and
at all.
We took a risk in relying that like we didn't have the Okie-dokie at the start, and we took a risk of Tig just strolling in an aisle in hoping that people will be like, what am I watching? Like, why am I watching this person shopping? Like, but, and obviously then she picks up the product, takes a bite in it, and just the shock value of it. and then kind of making the whole game
because it was reaching people that weren't interested in cake tutorials. It was reaching that
wider audience,
the wider audience of
definitely.
like just the shock factor,
And then all the
what's
comments of
going on,
people being like,
confusion.
watch out, there's allergies. You could kill someone.
Yeah.
It's all very safe. We're definitely not killing anyone with this.
Yeah, people were worried about me catching germs as well from
Yes, it's only for
putting
us.
something on a shelf. But like
Which
you know,
is
we're
fair.
but we're very like tactical about it. Like
Yeah.
we don't leave it there for other people to touch. We don't bite the part of the cake that's touching the shelf either.
So,
like we're
it's so
you know
hard filming those. Filming
Oh,
in
they're so
public.
scary.
It's so hard. But it's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just to go back to the opportunities piece and then come back
Yeah.
around. Like, what are those opportunities then? Like, what?
Well, we get emails from businesses, I guess, like brands from bigger brands than what we are, wanting to use our cakes and our videos and our fun approach to advertise their products.
And I think that's something that we spotted really early, like, in the market, basically being like, people are wising up to when they're being sold to. Like, it is getting harder and harder and harder for influencers, for creators to work with brands. Because I know myself, it's like ad, move, ad, I don't care. Like, you just don't really always want to be sold to.
Yeah.
So that's why we were like, this
When
is
you see an
something-
ad and there's something being made
when
in
you're
the ad.
having your product converted into a cake, it's like literally like people want to see, like, how is this going to turn out? How is this going to be? Or if it is like a new product they're launching on the shelf and you're biting into it, you don't really realise you're necessarily being sold
But they've
something.
seen the brand name and they've seen
The brand name's out there, and I think that's why working with brands, and now we're getting a little bit better at it, because in the beginning, like, we had no idea what we're doing, and so we were very much just
Actually,
like,
it was you that came up with the idea. We started this. We had we probably had like 500,000 followers on TikTok by then, but we kind of put out a little like, if you're a small business, and would like a cake of your product, like reach out, and we did them for like next to nothing. We did these cakes for these small businesses, and so we were able to do a few different little products, and that was that was Katie's idea. So then they weren't big brands, but they wanted to work with us because we were bigger than them. So we ended up doing some really cool. I think we did the Sarah Skin.
and then that got picked up by like Daily Mail and 7 News and stuff
Yeah.
like that, which was amazing for
And
them
that sort of
too.
planted the seed of like, that's what we can do.
Yeah, awesome.
And then that brought in
and
some
that's
bigger.
sort of the opportunities that have kind of naturally grown from that. And
I think the viral videos and the articles written about the cakes and things have helped bring in, it's brought the attention, brought to other bigger brands. And
It's a great idea, and then you also could experiment
yeah.
with a lower risk factor of
Yes, exactly. And also it's so nice because often the bigger brands you get, obviously it's so exciting, but they will be much more, they'll dictate what they want a lot more. Whereas,
it's actually been really interesting working with bigger brands because a lot of them don't understand anything about TikTok, but yet they still want to tell you how to do your video on TikTok. And you're like, mate, like, have you ever had a viral video on TikTok? That's not how you do it.
that might not work.
Can we just like try it this way?
That's why it's lovely when it is a collaborative process. Like, we'll highlight your product the best we can, and you can let us do like what.
So often they will tell us how they want it done, and then we'll go back to them and be like, how about this? And then they'll be like, oh, can you do this? And we're like, well, maybe we can do it this way. Like, there's still a lot involved in doing these videos. Like, but once you come to an agreement and you move forward and you see it done and it goes well, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And then like you've got the shirts, so the Okie-dokie brand
merch,
and taking off as well. So other opportunities.
Yeah.
What like other than working with brands, what do you guys see there?
Well, definitely the merch is something that has taken crazy amount of time to actually organise because you get so busy and then you get comfortable doing, doing your work week is done a certain way to then like put in all this time to then research merch and I designed the merch. What is it? The logo and stuff like that. So I had to find time to sit down and perfect those. But then finally, we're just waiting on our website to be finished to have the merch on it so that people can buy it. But we've got the t-shirts ready to go at home.
It's just taking and I think just
and
obviously-
YouTube.
Yeah, merch and
YouTube.
YouTube's
We'd like to
something
get onto
we're
the YouTube.
definitely going to be starting because I mean, yeah, TikTok's amazing, but also it, you know, I don't know, I don't want to like slam TikTok, but it doesn't pay its creators in the way that YouTube does, you know. And obviously, you know, there is a creator fund that hasn't launched yet in Australia, but even that has had some diciness, you know, overseas and stuff. So that's something that, you know, would be great if for us, obviously, because our largest platform.
We would love for our videos to be earning money, you know,
purely from that.
just from being played.
But we just have to be a little bit more creative, like I said, with our audience, because, you know, we don't have that, you know, ad revenue that YouTubers have. So we've kind of got to be like...
It's only within the last like 6 months, that maybe even less, that no, probably about 6 months, that we've decided to really scale back, because we were doing content creation and still doing cakes like for our customers. But we've made the decision, much to a lot of our customers' dismay, that we're going to be
full-time content.
Going into full-time content, still doing a few cakes here and there, but like it's just where we see ourselves going, and to stay in business and still do what we love. It's the only way that we can do that is in content.
Yeah.
So
Which is an amazing 5-year ride.
It's really evolved. Like it's
Or 2-year ride, really, less than.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
And when we set out doing this, we never saw that this is where we'd be. We didn't think, we never thought content creation was in our future. So
and I think that's
pretty
something
cool.
that is scary, is that it's almost like when you get into content creation, it is, I don't know, I suppose because so much about content and the internet and social media is ahead of its time. Like it's like our generation as well, like being like in our 30s or whatever. I mean, not that it's taught in school now or anything, but that whole side of it, it's just all unknown. Like you get into it and it's like, well, how much, you know, and I sort of assumed, like working with brands and companies as well, that, you know, they're sort of like, okay, well, we're going to do this and what do you charge for that? And we're like, how the hell would we know what we charge for that? Like, and sort of like,
having
you know,
an expert.
yeah, that's obviously when you've got to outsource things and have a few people know more than you come in and be like, okay, well, this is what you can sort of be looking at, and things like that.
Yes, shout out to Lee. Thank you
just
for doing that for us.
Thanks,
We'd be
Lee.
lost. We'd be so lost.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting world, but you guys have sort of dived head first into, but you sort of had clearly had the instinct and guts to do it. What's kind of interesting about all this is that you talk about it wasn't really on the radar, even, you know, like right before COVID came and smacked everyone in the face. Yeah. But Tigger, you've got this natural talent gift. But like, is that was that a conscious thing? Like that
was what a conscious thing
that you were, you know, you were experimenting. Was it sort of deep down in there you could get out and create content and use like your personality and your creativity?
I didn't know that people would be into it at all. Like I would just literally just like, I'm like, COVID's here. We're not really doing as many cakes. Like I'm just going to try. It's like an experiment more than anything. Like I'm just going to see if putting my voice. I think one of the first videos that I did was it was like a fail. So like I was putting sprinkles on a cake, and I was like, all right. I was like, I probably put a bit more of an Australian accent on. Like if you go to one of my first videos ever on TikTok, it's like, all right, just putting some sprinkles on here. And then I was like, oh, bugger or something. Like it's so bad. But it went relatively well. And then I just was like, okay, well, I don't want to be too over the top here. So like I just started being myself. And it was just like, like a natural progression, really.
And then, Katie, how come Tigger won't let you on?
I'm tied up in the corner.
Yeah.
No, it's 100%.
Tigger Mac was Katie's idea.
It was.
Guys?
Well, not the person, Tigger Mac, but
she's not a real person.
Yeah.
With this.
Yeah. No, I think that's something that, it's quite funny, like, that our followers
People have had legitimate concern for Katie's welfare.
Concerned for me, and, you know, also people often love pitting two women against each other.
They thought that we were like having a fight. We were breaking up.
Yeah, like they thought that. But I think, obviously you don't realise how much goes on behind the scenes. And I was very much eager to be behind the scenes. Like I love that role. Like, I mean, I'm starting to put myself out there a little bit more in the content, but I certainly am much more comfortable being like, you know, here's the ideas and here's this and here's that, and, you know, but it's definitely a collaborative effort.
Oh yeah, definitely. I started off Tigger Mac on my own on TikTok purely just as an experiment. But then from there, once it started to take off, it was like we started doing everything, like
Yeah.
it was purely like the Tigger Mac name is, yes, it's my name, but like it would be no Tigger Mac without Katie at all.
Yeah, and I think I don't know, I just feel really lucky that we're a partnership. Like I look at content creators who are, doing it solo, and I kind of, I feel for them because I'm just like, it's really, it's really good to
It
be
makes it more fun, I think.
bounce off each other, and if one of us is having a complete meltdown about something, then, obviously the other
Usually me. I'm usually the one having the meltdown and Katie's there to...
sort of,
But it was only recently that Instagram, we changed the Instagram name. Instagram had always been Cake for Days, even up until...
Yeah,
Well, it's only a couple of months ago.
And I was sort of pushing for it. Like, we need to go Tigger
Tigger Mac is what has got the views and I guess people know Tigger Mac. Cake for Days is sort of a little bit stagnant, and I think having that name attached makes it a little bit more like people are following a person and not a business.
To be honest, I'm very comfortable. I feel a bit more for Tigger because sometimes, especially if we go to Coles and Woolies and stuff, and there are people commenting being like, "That's my local," and I'm like, "Oh God!" Like, just her being at the forefront. I've always been like, "Oh, the best job in the world would be like the drummer for Coldplay," because everyone knows Chris Martin. No one knows the drummer, but you're getting all the perks. You're getting to travel, you're getting to do everything, and you're not ever gonna be scared of being seen in public.
Yeah.
So
I have been.
I feel for Tigger in that
I have
way.
been recognised in public a few times, and it is very strange. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But and it's still strange just to think that people all around the world like know who I am. That's a very strange feeling. It's weird. It feels weird, but it's cool. Like, it's exciting. But I'm just so glad that I've got Katie here to,
Yeah, that's awesome.
go through it all with, because
Well, it's good to
crazy
to see how the sausage is made, to use that turn of phrase, which will confuse a whole bunch of
I used
people.
that the other day, and I was like, I've never heard this saying before.
Right.
And she's like, "That's gross. What do you mean?" I'm like, "It's a saying."
Well, okay, I should have cakified it to see how the cake is baked, right? Because outside looking in, people might just see Tigger Mac and see this individual doing her thing, but there's a backstory and a way that you guys work and got there, which is really fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot of behind the scenes planning, and it's definitely not just a one person job. Like, it could be, like, you could do it on your own, but thankfully we do not have to.
A lot goes into it. Yeah.
Well, and I've got two other places to go. One is, what advice would you guys give to someone who's where you were pre-COVID, right? Like, you're working your asses off, baking a lot of cakes, but sort of like wondering, like, how long can you keep this going?
Everything. Start with that.
Yes.
Because we didn't film anything.
Yes.
And we were like, why aren't we growing?
Yeah.
We were posting pictures on Instagram. We're like, why aren't we growing?
Yeah.
You got to film everything, because it's really, really, like, you don't know what people want to see. You might see that every day and think that's boring, but you don't realize that no one ever sees that before. Like, no one has ever seen that before, or people are interested to see the behind the scenes stuff. So, like, film everything and just see what sticks.
Yeah, we've always had a bit of a spaghetti on the wall approach with that sort of stuff. Like, now we're getting to study things a little bit more, and we have more of an idea this will go better than this. And
sometimes you think something's going to go really well still, and it flops.
100%.
Our Wally cake has been our biggest, like, disappointment, and it's like one of our most proudest cakes.
Created
And
a
it's
life-size Wally. It was insane, and no one cared.
no one cared. And I was like, why? Why? And then you do something like, I don't know.
Tig will be like, should I even put this up? And I'm like, yes, put it up. And it goes mental.
Yeah, and you're like
you just can't, you
just can't pick it. So definitely film everything, and I think give people a reason to hit that follow button. Not just watch the video, but to take that extra step and follow you. There's got to be a reason for it. And I think,
Yeah, and I always think if
you've got to get something out of the video.
If you're converting like something long form, like you have filmed all this, I always just feel like, like...
It's like a highlights reel.
Yeah, it is. It's like the highlights reel. Like, if that's the movie, make the trailer. Get the very bits, the only bits that people actually are going to want to be interested in. And that's one good thing.
Get rid of everything that's potentially going to cause people to doze off and scroll on. Yeah. So that's the Tigger Mac almost at the start is our hook to hopefully grab people's attention enough for them to stick around. But you still have to What was I saying this morning? That there was that viral video that we've had a recent video go to the most viral that we've had, and I was like trying to figure out like what was it about it, and the very first sentence is Okie-dokie, let's make a wedding cake, and it's so to the point that it's like people obviously want to stick around and see the wedding cake be made.
Yeah.
So if I was to say Okie-dokie, like, hey guys, something, that could be enough for them to scroll on.
Yeah.
But I've
That and the 9 inches.
Oh, and the 9 inches there. That could have helped.
If in doubt, sex sells.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
Or innuendo sells.
Yep.
Yes.
And then switching gears, I'm resurrecting a segment from a while back that was just dear to my heart, but I don't know why we let it go. But now that I'm back on the show by myself, I get to do what I want.
Right.
Going down the rabbit hole. So where it's basically where is the internet content taking you in weird and wonderful places?
Well, unfortunately, my children got hold of TikTok before I did, and they've
On your phone.
my algorithm. My God, I was on TikTok when TikTok was like, "Let's go down to TikTok." I was like, looking
Why?
through it, going, "Why? It's just kids dancing and slime. Like, what are you talking about?" Yeah, it was a lot of slime.
There's a lot of slime on TikTok.
But because of my kids now, yeah, my rabbit holes can be just, I suppose the whole satisfaction thing, I'm like, I will be watching things get made, like multiple like slimes and things. And I'm just like, I kind of can't look away. But like, why? This is so time wasty. But you can see why kids are hooked on it.
Yeah.
Completely hooked.
Yeah. There's been a few creators that I've like on TikTok that I've gone down a rabbit hole with them. But I can see why. Like they're almost like baking and cooking TikToks. So it's like it's still in my I'm still really
Your
interested in
wheelhouse.
all of that. Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't really have. I think we spend a lot of time on TikTok, like just doing our own TikToks.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, sorry to be like the total.
No, that's good because I mean, mine is where the real world collided with the internet at the exact same time, and you're partly to blame for this because I've got a 6-year-old daughter, and they do, as kids do, they play games, and they play scissor paper rock,
Oh, yeah.
and then Christian Hull, who's
Yes.
a great creator and comedian,
Yep.
who's actually been on the pod as well,
Oh.
created a video that reaffirmed that it is scissors, paper,
No,
rock.
it's rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
Whereas my kid comes home and she's going, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yes, they say
Yes.
shoot now, and that was not in our day.
Tigger's there having a beef online with my man Christian Hull,
Yep.
claiming that it is rock, paper, scissors.
And it's always, but the thing is that some people do it on every syllable, and Christian was like
he's
scissors, paper, like he did like
No,
He's
five.
100% correct.
He's just like a Broadway performance, like scissor. No, it's too slow.
And then
So you do like
scissors,
5 pump
paper, rock.
Oh, no.
And you
scissors, paper. That's like 5. No,
Yeah.
it's like rock, paper, scissors, and on the scissors is when you reveal.
And then I
generational.
turn to the internet to try and find the right answer, and all you can do is find the answer that will affirm what you want.
Yeah.
So there's as many people sprouting.
I didn't actually realise that there were 5. There's 5. I think there's 5 different ways to do it.
No, there's only one way to do it, but there's 5 other ways people are doing it. But that was this, and I actually went down this. I did
So
go
you
down
did
the
some
rabbit
research
hole,
and yep.
it was like, I'm like, why am I doing
Why am I
this?
doing this?
But then also everyone was so passionate about it. And we've had an email exchange with just emojis between like me and Tigger,
Yeah.
like scissors, paper, rock. And,
Yeah.
That just like is TikTok though. I feel like I'm just like, I'll just quickly check something and then I'll look up and I'm like, oh my God, it's been 3 hours.
Yeah, actually, just TikTok is a rabbit hole in
How
itself.
How did that happen?
But I think, that's the great thing about it. Like you're talking about, make people feel something, and even you never know what it could be, and it might not be related to you. But the scissors, paper, rock. I won't say it the other way. Is that thing like I can see you two both like your skin crawl when I say that,
Yes.
and that's just like the beautiful thing.
sounds
Like
so
something so
strange.
simple
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
banal.
And that's something we were chatting about on the way here actually, was we were talking about how we learnt not to, I don't know if it's just like a
Yeah.
human thing or something, but you almost want to preempt any criticism, any commentary, because you're like,
And
people will say this and then they'll say, so we used to actually sort of say that in our videos, like, and the reason we use this and the reason we did it this way, and then all of a sudden we're like, shut up. We're literally shutting
We're
down.
answering people's questions before they've had the chance to
We're
ask
just
them.
cancelling engagement. So now often we'll even put things in there like deliberately wrong.
So
for that reason, people will be like,
I reposted the sausage and bread cake, and in that video, I filled a tomato sauce bottle with red buttercream, and I like shake the bottle and like pour the buttercream on. But the second time round that I posted the video, I didn't say that there was buttercream in the sauce bottle. I just was like, and then you add your tomato sauce. Yeah. So the whole time I've talked about a cake, and then I say, got to put on the tomato sauce at the end. And the amount of comments of, was that actually tomato sauce? What was actually in the bottle? Was that, did you just put tomato sauce on a cake?
Learning that like less
so that's
is
bringing
more
in,
sometimes.
that brought in a whole nother group of comments just from not giving the information, all the information.
Yeah, I think it's like giving up on the fear of trolls and just being like, it's all engagement. Like even now, if we get a lot
it's
of
almost like bring on the trolls because it creates
I know
drama.
That. We're like,
and
thank you.
Yeah.
And then the Okie-dokie army goes to work.
Yeah, and then that creates like 100 comments in one comment, and you've got engagement.
Exactly.
So it's all about just starting a conversation, and hopefully people get enrolled in it. if it's a passionate argument like the rock paper scissors.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And on that note, I reckon that's a perfect place to finish it when I'll get the last word, and it's scissors, paper, rock.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Stop. Game over. See, that's how it works on my show.
Oh, I got ya.
All right, Tigger and Katie, thanks so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having us.
I can't wait to see the Okie-dokie tattoos.
I'll be sharing.
Plural.
Create a generation. Look on the mic.